He's my friend. So was I.
Stay down. Final warning.
What's going on, bud smokers and movie lovers, and welcome back to another episode of 5 on It. I am Francisco.
And I'm Sir Frazier.
And on today's episode, we are reviewing one of Marvel's best. It's not even an argument. We all know this is in the top 10 of everybody's Marvel movies. We are talking about 2016's Captain America.
Is it?
It is. We all know. This
is it though?
If any Marvel fans making the top 10, I'm for sure that this will be in 95% of everybody's top 10. But we are talking about not an Avengers movie. That's some people would call it a Avengers 2.5. This Avengers is part of a trilogy. Well, by now it's gotten a fourth movie. That's not too good. But today we are talking about Captain America: Civil War. But before we go any further into that, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, comment, drop some comments down below on some of your favorite Marvel movies. Maybe Civil War is one of your favorite movies, or maybe you're an idiot and you think this is one of your worst movies.
Coming in hot.
Either way, drop a comment below. But Sir Frazier, tell the people what we're smoking on.
Man, hitting the Dougie Blunt. This is one of their nice 2 grams infused blunts. But this one is Jet Runts. It's a nice hybrid. I think it's is it indica leaning?
I think so.
Yeah. Nice. It hits smooth. I mean, shit, we've been fucking with Dougie Blunts here for a minute. They have good stuff, good strains.
They hit nice and even.
Yeah. So for those of you who haven't seen this movie, just a really quick summary. Political involvement in the Avengers' affairs causes a rift between Captain America and Iron Man. This movie is directed by the Russos, Anthony and Joe Russo. Screenplay is by Christopher Markus and Stephen McFeely. Great. I mean, these two have made magic happen when they've paired. I mean the director-writer combo. Like when they've worked together, they've created a lot of magic. Starting, with Captain America: Winter Soldier. I think they did both the Infinity War movies. Mm-hmm. These. Just to name a few. And I know I believe they're going to be collaborating on Secret Wars and the Dooms movie. No, I thought I saw that they were going to be collaborating for Doomsday and Secret Wars. Yeah, they are.
I believe so.
Yeah, they
but
are.
I'm not 100% sure on that.
They even linked up on The Gray Man, which I saw on Netflix. I liked that movie. I thought it was pretty fun. Chris Evans is a really good heel. He usually plays a good heel. And Ryan Gosling, Anna de Armas. Fun. It was a fun movie. I remember.
I think it gets
Billy Bob Thornton too.
I think it gets shitted on just a little bit too much. I think maybe people will go into it a little bit too high of expectations because they see Anthony and Joe Russo and Chris Evans and stuff like that. But all in all, I thought it was just a fun movie. It's not going to be in any top 10s or anything like that, but I thought it was just an enjoyable streaming movie.
Mm-hmm. Well, so quick recap of the cast: Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., Scarlett Johansson, Sebastian Stan, Anthony Mackie, Chadwick Boseman, Tom Holland. It's really broadcast. That's one of the things that I think is really impressive about this movie, is that we're pretty well versed in several characters, including the villain. And I think it does a good job of kind of grounding us in a lot of them, even Hawkeye,
Man, just a quick mention about the cast. The cast is so stacked that when you're just on Wikipedia and you're looking at the list, when you have names like Daniel Bruhl, William Hurt, and Martin Freeman are the last 3 names on your list, I think your cast is pretty damn stacked. But also show you that, nowadays, especially when a Superman came out, and then people heard about you had a Green Lanterns in it, and a Hawk Girl, and Mr. Terrific, and Ultraman, and da. People are like, oh my God, this is flooded with names and characters, and blah, blah, blah. Well, first of all, every movie has characters in it. That's how movies work. Mm-hmm. And second of all, it's look at this, Civil War. Goddamn, you have how many different heroes are in this movie, but it works.
Oh yeah.
So it doesn't matter how many heroes or villains you set up in a movie. It always boils down to the writing and the execution of it, in my opinion.
No, I think that's real. And I mean, dude, this movie was a hitter at the box office. 250 mil was the budget, and it brought in over 1.1 bill.
Oh yeah, it definitely it made some money.
Yeah, for real.
Just a little bit, a little scratch.
Making it rain. Quick question for you. This isn't a quick question. How high? We talked about just generally, right? You know, this being on top 10. How high is this for you? Is it just this top 5? Because I know Infinity War is high on your list.
Infinity War is high on my list. If I'm thinking of like what are like at least in the ballpark, no particular order. It's like what I would put in the bag of like of my top 5s. Like Ragnarok is in there, Civil War is in there, Winter Soldier's in there, Guardians of the Galaxy's in there. What else is in there? A Black Panther is in there. A No Way Home is in there. Man, I would love to throw in a Doctor Strange, but I think if we're just talking about just the top 5, it would just fall just out. If we're talking just top 5s, yeah, I think, and all the obviously the first Avengers movies in there. Yeah, I think I would probably put Civil War maybe in my top 5 if I'm just like thinking off the top of my head right now. I think I would probably put it in there. And if it's not in there, to me, it's right outside. Like I said, I was just mentioning it, and like there's not too many other movies besides like those ones that I listed that I would say like, yeah, that's clearly better than Civil War. Like all those other ones, like you can give me the argument of like, yeah, it's better. But like if you're like, oh yeah, the first Doctor Strange is better than Civil War, then I'm like, hey, I mean that's completely up to your opinion.
I completely disagree, but I would love to hear why.
Yeah, it's like beauty's in the eye of the beholder. That's all up to you.
It's all subjective.
It's all exactly. But I heavily would disagree with that. Mm-hmm. So like besides those movies I listed, I mean maybe I missed one here or there. Mm-hmm. Like even like an Avengers: Age of Ultron, I would still probably take a Civil War over that.
I need to rewatch that because I haven't. It's been a long time.
Even though I feel though Age of Ultron does like still hold up really well, and especially where the MCU went, at least up until the Infinity Saga, I feel like you can go back and like there's like certain dialogue that you hear that definitely comes back to like come true, especially like the Hulk line when he talks about how like maybe he's meant for something more. That's why he is like this monster. Mm-hmm. It's like some dialogue that he's having between him and Tony Stark, and it's something that sets up his ultimate sacrifice when he does the snap with the Infinity War or the Infinity Gauntlet. Mm-hmm. So I think there are certain things that hold up in Age of Ultron. So I think it would like do really well on rewatch. Mm-hmm. But even like an Eternals, I still like it's still a positive movie in my opinion, but not better. Or even the Ant-Mans or. Even like the Spider-Man movie is solid, but I don't think I'd put any of them besides maybe a No Way Home above Civil War just because of the spectacle. But I don't know. What do you think? Where would this rank among your MCU? Would it make your top 5?
Infinity War and Endgame are absolutely on my top 5. After that, it's tough because I think that I like Civil War more than Winter Soldier, and I love Winter Soldier. Mm-hmm. I think it took aspects of that movie, with like the political intrigue, and it kind of broadened it into a greater, like almost like philosophical difference between Tony and Cap. So it felt, but also I think the villain is great. I think Zemo is one of the best
like super powered
villains that they've done. His motives are, I was totally empathetic to him as a character, given, and he has this powerful line when he first comes face to face with Chris Evans at the end of this movie, with Rogers. And he says, you lost someone. And he says, I lost everyone. And you feel the pain for him, he didn't want to go this route, but because the former Hydra wasn't willing to give him the information about the mission, which is the prologue of this movie, with Barnes, he had to resort to other means to get it from Barnes himself.
Yeah.
When he was captured. So I thought like his motives, the execution of his plan were phenomenal. But I don't want to jump around too much because I did want to spotlight. I think that the prologue that they give us with Bucky Barnes in 1991, where he is recorded at, he's killing, he's knocked this car off the road, killed the people, right? And we see him opening up the trunk. We don't actually see him kill them, right? We just see him open up the trunk, and we see the blood for or the serum for these super soldiers. Yeah, what we will later learn, right? Mm-hmm. But I think that becomes the kernel of the Avengers undoing. Mm-hmm. And that we see that thread get pulled over the course of this movie, and the big reveal of what that footage was from.
Well, you're saying just even Nemo and how his plans gets unveiled, even just you obviously once the Avengers realize he's doing some evil doing, because that's when Captain America kind of hems him up and he's just what do you want and everything, and he ends up getting away from or what he say? He said, I want to see an empire fall. So you see he has some sort of intentions, mm-hmm. But then when you realize or you start to think that he wants to unleash all these other super soldiers.
No.
But then once you start like I said, what they start revealing that's not what he wants to do, because once they get to the hideout and they're all murdered, and then they start revealing his plan and everything. Dude, I think it's just a great way that they treated his villain.
Yeah, I thought his motives were totally understandable, and he was ruthless. And we see his strategy of trying to ruin the Avengers by having them fight amongst themselves.
Yeah.
And the thing that I think this is why the fact this is a civil war, and in civil wars there's often no victory because you have families killing families, families mm-hmm. killing each other. You know what I'm saying? The cost often outweigh the victories. Not all the time.
Yeah.
To be clear. Sometimes that ass whooping needs to be handed out.
Yeah.
But
we know.
Yeah. But I'm saying in this case, right, there are no victors, right? Because the Avengers are broken up like the Beatles.
Yeah.
Well, Ruffalo would say later.
You get that sad scene when he's just Bucky is down and Cap is just kind of giving him that almost that Thanos when he's just that last gasp of I'm still here, motherfucker. And Tony was just Cap was just he's my friend. And then Tony's so was I. And then they go back to battling, and then you get the iconic Civil War cover of mm-hmm. Tony shooting out the beams, and then Cap blocking it off the shield. Yeah. Bro, visually this was such a fucking, as people would say, it's a feast.
It really is, man. Because I think when we actually get to the Avengers, right, we see this mission go wrong in Lagos, right, with Rumlow, who is trying to steal these biological weapons. And we see this team, Wanda, Rogers, Wilson, Natasha, and they're basically trying to prevent them and retrieve these weapons that are stolen. That ends up going to hell, and because Captain Rogers, he loses it. He loses focus when he hears Bucky.
Yeah.
And Rumlow detonates this bomb that Wanda's able to save Rogers from, but it ends up leading to the death of a lot of people.
She can't control it too much or too well.
This failed mission is what really starts the domino effect of just the political blowback that happens in a world post-Shield, right? Because all of their secrets have been dumped onto the internet. So the Avengers are acting really under their own parameters. Mm-hmm. And so that's something that governments are uniting around, and hence the Sokovia Accords, which are going to be used to really bring the Avengers under the jurisdiction of the UN, right? Mm-hmm. Or some kind of committee.
Yeah.
And I think that set up a really great kind of rift between Captain well, the two sides, people who flock to to Stark versus Rogers.
Yeah. Well, like you get that iconic scene with them like sitting around the table and them going through all of like the past battles and just seeing kind of all the destruction that they've had over the years that we've seen. And yeah, like they have been acting. Obviously, they've been acting like as like vigilantes pretty much. And they do need to be checked in a way. But then you start seeing Cap's side of like, what if like we need to go somewhere and they don't want to send us, or what if they send us somewhere and we don't need to be there right, or at that moment. And so you started seeing both sides of the fence, and that's why like this is such like a a difficult situation to be in.
Yeah, and I think that whole scene is great, right? Where God, what is his name? He becomes the Hulk. Red Hulk. Ross, yeah. When Ross is telling them about the heart attack he had on the golf course and perspective and all of those things, right? And Tony is already very raw to this messaging because we see the interaction he has with a mother who's lost her son in Sokovia.
Yeah.
And how... she poses that question to him, who's going to avenge my son, Stark? You fight for yourself.
Yeah.
And so he's already mentally in a space where he's second guessing and reevaluating the way that they're maneuvering, right? And I think something that happens later in this movie, Vision gives, or actually in that same scene, right, where Ross gives them the ultimatum: either you retire or you play ball.
Yeah.
Those are your two options. And Vision says to them, since Tony put on the suit, the level of threats has increased exponentially. He's like, our existence beckons challenge, right? Yeah. And that's something that even Thor mentioned, right, in the first Avengers. He said, you using the Tesseract communicates to the universe that you're ready for a higher form of warfare. Yeah. And so like I feel like that's been a thread in some of these movies, right? Where we have this power, but it invites challenge, and the people pay for that, and the mess the battles that we fight, the people deal with that, not us in the same degree, right? Yeah. And so like the consequences like have finally hit for them.
That's a highlight I put down for me as well, was like Vision's speech to the group, which I mean, obviously like his character would be a great component to have like a speech like that, the way like he thinks and everything. But when like he says like since he did that, like the strength that we have invites challenge, and challenge invites conflict. And so that's also a good Easter egg to have for just like where the Infinity Saga goes, to like eventually where Thanos is going to come and show you he's going to be the ultimate challenge. But I feel like there's lines and throughout this movie or just like things in general that are Easter eggs just for, obviously the MCU is great for that, but they're just showing you of kind of like what things are about to come in form of like a Thanos, that the things that they've done in the past are going to come back and bite them in the ass. And so, like I said, like with him announcing that he's Iron Man and Thor coming to the Earth and everything like that, things have just gone up exponentially.
And then what happened in New York, the first Avengers,
even like Hulk 2 as well, him going through all that stuff. I'm not sure. Did they show that? Actually, I might be tripping because I did watch Brand New Day after Civil War. It popped up since it was like the next movie in the line.
So, you rewatched it?
I didn't really like sit down and rewatched it. It was just kind of on while I was like doing some house stuff, but I was just kind of poking my head up, and there's some good stuff in Brand New Day. It's not a total shit show. Like to me, it's not a Quantumania, or a what would I say is at the bottom of the MCU? Quantumania for sure.
The second Thor movie for me.
Yeah, probably maybe a Dark World. Maybe a Love and Thunder.
Yeah. One thing I did want to say though, this movie introduced us to two great characters, and we're introduced to T'Challa at the UN when they are about to, I guess, ratify the Sokovian Accords, and Steve doesn't go. Steve does not agree with their decision to sign, so it's pretty almost evenly split at this time, and from there, we also, we see this, allegedly, it seems that, Barnes has detonated a bomb, and the bomb blows up right outside of the UN, and it ends up, the conference in Vienna, and
Killing T'Chaka.
it kills T'Chaka. And that already adds like a lot of emotional weight to his character. And then, of course, it's leaked that, this is Barnes. There's the footage of him. And boom, next thing you know, we're in Germany.
Yeah.
And I think they're in Germany, right?
I want to say yeah.
Yeah. And he's trying
They do some jet setting around.
Yeah, he's trying to basically cut down. He's trying to lay low. He's left that life. He's not under the control of Hydra.
He's just trying to eat some plums.
Yeah, right. And the scene where Rogers, after he's found out where Bucky is, he's like, I got to be the one to bring him in. And that whole scene, right, where he connects with him, Bucky recognizes him, and the police are on their way up the stairs. That whole scene, everything from there to the chase when the Black Panther comes on the camera. Excellent action sequence, bro. That's just like, that whole fucking scene is a highlight.
Dude, well, I was going to say, like, this movie gives us, I want to say, 3 big, maybe, action set pieces. I mean, I want to say, like, the last scene is not necessarily like a set piece, will be like a fight sequence. But, like, you get the airport scene, obviously. Then you get that chase scene. I want to say maybe there's one more I'm possibly missing. But from that moment of like Captain America showing up and him meeting with Bucky, and Bucky is like still a little bit hazy. He doesn't fully remember Cap. He knows he saved him from the river or wherever they I forgot what the ocean. They didn't crash in the ocean or the lake or the river or wherever the fuck it was. He knows that he obviously saved him for a reason, and he has like some sort of memories, but he just can't make the connection quite yet. And so, but like at that moment, man, from when they could throw that bomb or that little smoke grenade or whatever in there, it's just on and popping, man.
Oh yeah.
And honestly, I love it when they jump down and they start running with the cars, because now you have that great comparison just to see how fast they are. It's like in Infinity War when they do the aerial shot of like Cap and Black Panther fucking running in front of the group, and they're just leaping over, and then they start the fight. It's like, it's a great just showcase of just to show you how fast these super soldiers are compared to just their surroundings.
100%. And the fact that they end up finding him, and Zemo intercepts the man who's supposed to interrogate and kind of analyze Barnes. He takes him out.
Which is, that's... I'm not sure if that's Anthony or Joe. That's one of the Russo brothers.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
But that whole scene was well executed, right? Because after the chase, after Rhodey arrives and basically arrests all of them, we learn that T'Challa is actually the Black Panther. And that whole little dialogue was pretty funny.
I love his little...
So you like cats?
Dude, I love his little, like, his score theme, whatever. Because when he takes off, that you hear it in the background, that little, just that Black Panther sound.
Yeah.
But even Don Cheadle, just like with that. Or no, that wasn't Don Cheadle. I mean, Anthony Mackie. Anthony Mackie and even Bucky for a little bit. But him mainly and Paul Rudd, they provide like a little bit of comic relief. And I want to say like the comedy in this movie is just a great balance. Like when Cap has his little moment with Sharon, which I want to say we don't have to jump to cons just yet, but is a little bit of a con. But they have their little awkward moment, and then they turn the camera back to the car scene, and they're both nodding. It's such a great comedy moment.
It is.
And the moments that they do give us some comedy, even when at the prison scene as well. And Iron Man is going down and he's looking at everybody, and then Paul Rudd gives him, Hank Pym always told me never trust a Stark. He's like, who are you? He's like, come on, man.
Yeah, that is a good scene. But when they actually are there, right, and despite everything that's happened, Tony's offers the olive branch to Cap. It's like, hey, sign this. We can make all this go away. And then he reveals that they're basically keeping Wanda on the compound. And Cap blew that out of proportion. I gotta be honest. He's like, yo, she's a prisoner. Like, yo, you've been to the facility. Stop acting dumb. She is not a prisoner. We just are trying to keep her out of the public view until we can get this settled, because she is stateless. She's an illegal immigrant, or she's a refugee. But they're gonna look at her as an illegal immigrant and get her up out of here.
It's like, she's a kid, and it's like, Cap, yeah, she is a kid, but not like a kid. Like, she is like a young adult, but she can also do some crazy shit. So it's like, she could literally escape that if she wants to. I mean, it won't do anything to her. Like, she got rid of Vision just like that. So,
1,000%.
So I definitely agree that, like, I think I am on Cap's side of the movie as a whole, but at that moment I was like, bro, you're overreacting a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think when that whole fight scene though, when Zemo awakens the Winter Soldier, and he basically needs the status report on the mission from 1991, and he gives him the coordinates and all the details he needs to head to the base in Moscow. But that scene where the Winter Soldier is fighting his way out of that UN, or out of custody, dude, that's such a great scene, because he's throwing hands with everybody. We get a lot of fights, a lot of one-on-ones there. We got Scarlet Witch, right? We got not Scarlet Witch. We got the Black Widow. We got Tony without his suit, with his Armani suit on, not the Iron suit,
with some loafers.
You know what I'm saying?
That's so funny when he
blocks the gunshot though. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll just mention that's so funny. Just like when him and Black Widow are having like a little discussion, and I think she says something like, are you going to be ready? He's like, yeah, I'm going to be ready this time. Next time I won't be having loafers on, or next time I won't have a suit or a $1,000 suit. Yeah. Whatever his line was about the suit, it always just cracks me up. I mean, Tony's always prepared, but I mean, they caught him just a little bit off guard.
Caught him lacking.
Yeah, just a little. I mean, not too lacking. I mean, like I said, he blocked that bullet though, like you said.
That's true. But I mean, T'Challa has a one-on-one with him as well. Yeah, I mean, that was a highlight for me for sure. But I think like the actual, when we jumped, just jumping a little bit, when they're on the run now and they're essentially needing to recruit a team to kind of help hold their own. Both Tony as well as Cap. And so this is where we kind of bring in more characters. We're introduced to Peter Parker. That was a fun scene, that fun moment where he's in Queens talking to Aunt May.
Dude, I remember
eating that fucking loaf. What was the loaf?
Date loaf? Oh, God, that just sounds horrible. But like, I remember being in the theater and just like being at that time, obviously, Spider-Man is a product of Sony. So he can't necessarily be in Marvel projects without Sony's approval. So at that time, Marvel hasn't done anything with Spider-Man. Everything up to that point has just been like Sony related. And so like to see him come over in the MCU, like I just remember at that time hearing the dialogue between Tony and what's Black Widow's first name? What's her real, like, not Scarlett Johansson, but what's her character's first name? Natasha, that's it. When Natasha and Tony are talking, and he was like, well, where's your backup? Or where's your plan B or whatever? She's like, downstairs. Where's yours? And then you hear the music kick in.
Queens,
I was like, oh, we're getting Spider-Man, baby.
That was such a great reveal, bro. I mean, both of the reveals.
They didn't reveal in the trailer either.
Yeah. But I was just saying the reveal of Black Panther and Spider-Man being introduced, that also just adds a little oomph. And I mean, for a long time, I still had Tobey as my favorite Spider-Man, but now I've gotten to a point where Tom Holland he's surpassed him, because he's dropped 3 movies, about to be 4, and all 3 of those movies range from good to great, in my opinion.
And he's been in movies like Civil War, Infinity War, Endgame,
and he's bodied it. The scenes with him and Tony are just some of my favorites in those phases of Marvel.
Yeah. And like all in all, like his movies, people could say like whether like his movies are better or worse than Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire. I feel like he just almost embodies that character of Spider-Man and just a little bit more than those guys, in my opinion.
No, I definitely agree. Yeah, I think for me, just talking about Peter, his role, his scenes during the airport fight were a highlight for me. I mean, a highlight within a highlight. You know what I mean? Like, because his youthfulness, it's just on full display. Like when he actually webs up Cap's shield and takes it, and he sticks and then he's like, "Oh, how was it? I feel like I could have stuck the landing better." He's like, "Yeah, we don't need to have a back and forth right now."
And he's like, "Stop talking." But dude, even when he has like great interaction, not only with Tony, but then when the actual fighting starts, and he has a great little rapport with the Winter Soldier and Falcon, and he's like, "Does everybody got a gimmick nowadays?" And you can even see like his strength as well, like just for a kid, how he can just easily block Winter Soldier's arm, or how when Cap just dumps that. I mean, what's kind of, I guess. I mean, I'm sure Cap, I guess he just kind of recognized that he probably would be that strong that he could easily catch that, I'm guessing. But when Cap just kind of dumps that little shit on him and Spider-Man catches it, and that's when he's like, "Well, where you from, kid?" and all that type of shit. I'm just like, I guess you just kind of
Queens,
knew
like
he was going to catch
Brooklyn.
that. Yeah.
Well, that's also fun too, with the after credit where Peter's back at his home and he's telling, and Aunt May's asking him about like the black eye, the bruise. It's like, "Oh yeah," it's like, "Who'd you get in a fight with?" Just Steve. He's like, "Where's he from?" He's like, "Brooklyn."
You don't know him. He's from Brooklyn.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's right.
Dude, Tom Holland looks so young too in that. Post-credit scene.
For sure. But yeah, I think the whole airport scene is great. I mean, even where he says, "You guys ever seen this really old movie called Star Wars?" And Rhodey's like, "Jesus, Tony, how old's this kid?" He's like, "I don't know. I didn't carbon date him."
The airport scene. I'll ask you, like, where would you rank this as far like action set pieces, as far as like the MCU? Because I think a lot of people would put this as maybe like the best action piece that Marvel has put together. And I would say it is.
Go ahead, finish that thought.
I'll just say, like, I mean, it is up there, but obviously the end game scene when like that whole sequence.
Bro, even the Infinity War where they fight Thanos on his home planet. That's a really great fight scene. I put that above this one.
To me, that one gets it for me. Or even like a lot of people will put down like a fight scene as the Shang-Chi bus scene. I'm like, that's still really good, but like the spectacle of all these other ones that we're talking about still will get it over at least that one.
I mean, dude, the Avengers final battle in New York City was really dope. It's not as high as the Infinity War Endgame. I'm not saying that, but yeah, this is an iconic scene, and it is really great too. Because
and like this, the emotion too behind it as well.
Yeah, because I mean, when Tony lands, he's like, "Hey, I told Ross I'd have you guys." So Tony's under the clock, right? Because now that now that they know that Captain Rogers and Co have helped and are harboring a criminal, they're also. There's a target on their backs as well. And so he basically is able to convince Ross to give him less than 48 hours in order to bring them in before Ross sends in the big guns.
Yeah.
And Stark doesn't want that to happen, and he's trying to de-escalate and salvage this situation. And when he
help a brother out,
I can help a brother out, and he's like, "Yo, it wasn't Bucky, He's like, "Yo, your judgment is off." And he's right. I mean, he has every reason to be skeptical about Rogers because he's too close to it emotionally, and he's not able to see that. And that's something that harkens back to what happened at the beginning of this movie in Lagos. And so,
but it's like Cap is right. It's like
he's literally right in the sense that it's not Bucky.
It's not, but it's like, but there's also, like you said, there's other things going on as well that he's keeping from Tony right now.
Yeah, and yeah, that was a really disappointing thing that Chris did, or that Rogers did to Tony. To know that and not divulge that, and yeah, we'll get to that. Got him.
Shit.
What was I gonna say though? Yeah, I mean, when that whole scene breaks out, right? We've got Ant-Man who, when he supersizes himself, like pause.
Oh shit!
Damn, that's crazy. When he grows, pause. There's no really easy way to say that. When he goes Galactus, he ends up
when he goes Goliath.
That was like a really dope scene to see because we'd never seen him try that. So that was also like a cool moment.
Yeah,
and yeah, this whole fight scene, man, like the way that it ends too, with Black Widow betraying Tony and everybody and helping them escape, and then what happened to Rhodes when Vision trying to hit Falcon hits Rhodes and Rhodes ends up being partially paralyzed. It just raised the stakes, man. I think that's one thing about this movie. Like, there's a level of emotional intensity across multiple characters, right? We see the conflict within Natasha and her reluctance to fight her friends, right? We also see the emotions of Tony feeling like the regret of what happened in Sokovia, his conscience, and just kind of trying to wrestle with that. And then you have Cap, who's very headstrong, and he believes his friend is innocent, and he's willing to jeopardize his friendships with other people, as well as essentially be on the lam from the authorities.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's heightened when we see what happens to everybody else who didn't leave with Rogers and Bucky. They're in this fucking floating prison.
Yeah.
And that whole scene with Tony and them when he goes in there checking on them was very insightful, especially from Hawkeye.
Yeah. Man, that's what I was thinking, like, kind of throughout this movie was we get a lot of good character development throughout, like, a bunch of different characters, like you mentioned, whether it's Cap and Tony and Natasha.
T'Challa.
T'Challa. Like, you're getting just, like, a great balance of, like, so many different characters just in one movie, and that's just a highlight throughout this whole film.
What's funny? I was reading up on this movie, and the screenwriters mentioned some interesting movies as inspiration. One of them was Fargo.
Oh, really?
Also, they talked about Westerns, particularly for, the standoff scene at the airport. That definitely has like a kind of Western kind of shootout vibe to it, the way that they're all lined up. But also, oddly enough, reminded me of like the X-Men intro, the animated show.
Oh, really?
When like Magneto and his forces are charging against Charles and the X-Men.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. It's just like my mind went there. That's funny. But so those were a couple of influences, but also The Godfather. The Godfather in the sense that we have this movie that essentially is like an epic, and it covers a lot of grounds from a lot of different characters' perspectives, right? And so I thought those were like really fascinating movies that were inspiration for the way that they chose to tell the story.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Man, I don't want to like jump to like a negative, but this was like, it's kind of like, it's a negative, but I also knew like kind of like why they had to keep like some of the scenes in. Because, like, I was thinking, like, the chemistry with Cap and with Sharon, I feel like is just lacking a little bit.
Forced.
Yeah, and especially, like, when, like, they have, like, kind of, like, their little kiss scene and everything. I was like, it just felt super awkward. And I'm like, this just doesn't, I don't know. I mean, it led to something that was, like, really funny with, like, Falcon and Winter Soldier in the car. But also I was thinking about, like, I was like, man, why are they having, like, Peggy's like character kind of in this, because like I was like these scenes just kind of just felt like a little bit like it didn't really need to be in the movie. But then I was kind of like when like Sharon goes up and she has her speech and she talks about how like you should be a tree and like stand firm, especially like if you're the only one, if you believe in something, then like you truly believe in it, then you should like stand firm on your beliefs, and even if like the whole world is telling you no, you tell them to move and all that type of stuff. I was just like, okay, I get why they have kind of brought in Peggy in this, because like she just has like her little moment with Steve, and then she ends up just dying, and then they have like the funeral and all that type of stuff.
Yeah,
and I was just kind of like, why do they even have like Peggy in this movie at all? Her character just felt like Like, why was she even here? But then when I think about it, it's just to, like, serve Cap's character and serve his beliefs and what he's feeling at this moment in the Civil War with the Sokovia Accords and everything. So it was just one thing that was like, it was kind of like a negative for me, just being like, just the scenes with Peggy and just like her character being in this movie at all, and just the chemistry between Cap and Sharon. But it just leads to something that's like, whether it's a funny scene or it leads to like, getting more knowledge on Cap's beliefs in the movie. But that's just like one little minor con of the movie.
I didn't mind so much Peggy being in there because I think that really just continues to highlight what he's lost from the time he was frozen. And the fact, and I also can't help but think about it, how they circle back and how at the very end of Endgame and how he's able to go back to her and have that happy ending.
Yeah.
I guess I'm looking at that moment of them incorporating Peggy and, just that sense of like loss that he felt because of what happened. It's just fate. The way that that thread was maintained at the very end of of his character's arc was like a really, for me, beautiful detail.
Well, they do have a great scene like when they're like together at the hospital or wherever she's at.
Was that in Civil War?
Yeah, it was in this movie, like when like they have like their little what was it?
No, I'm sorry, not Civil War. Winter Soldier is when he goes to her in the hospital, right? Isn't that in Winter Soldier?
Was I tripping? Was that not in this movie?
Because her funeral's in this one.
Yeah, I thought he went to go see her in this movie. I thought they had that little face off in this one. Or am I tripping?
So the Winter Soldier is when he goes and sees her because she has like either Alzheimer's or dementia. That's the movie where he goes and sees her.
That's in Winter Soldier?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, I am having one of those Sinbad what do they call it moments?
Well, you know what? I think I definitely understand though because he loses her in the Civil War, which is why he's at the funeral, which is why he doesn't attend. One of the reasons he doesn't attend. It just felt like super
weird because I felt like he went to go see her, and then that's when like he got the text about like she's gone, went in her sleep.
Yeah,
and so like I'm just tripping, I guess. But yeah, I guess I'm just tripping about that scene.
I guess my final highlight of this movie is when so Captain America and Bucky have arrived to the Hydra compound, and they're looking for the man, who's really behind all of this. And Tony arrives, and shortly after, T'Challa, who was tailing him after he left the floating prison. So they're all there, and the Black Panther is kind of hiding back, kind of trying to, tracking them, trying to see what's going on. But I love like the dialogue between Tony and Cap, and then when he says to Bucky, he's like, "Can you give me a break, Manchurian Candidate? Like, we got this is a truce here, all right?"
Yeah.
Like I thought that was a great dialogue. But once we actually get in there and they see the video, and we get the reveal that Bucky Barnes killed Tony's parents.
And we're also getting that reveal as well.
We're getting that reveal, and that circles back to Tony's presentation where he's using like the holographic therapy. And that memory is from that day.
Yeah.
Right? Because they never come home. They leave. It was on bad terms, he and his father. And so like the way that it just kind of sharpens that moment even more so because we have that memory and the sense of regret he feels for that moment and what happened on that day. And so when the reveal happens, bro, that whole fight scene, I just love everything about that scene. Like every character owned their lines, whether it was Zemo telling him, there's a bit of green in your eyes.
Yeah.
How nice to find the flaw.
Yeah.
Like you that's the thing, man. With Zemo, you feel how the pain in his. We feel his pain because you hear him. At first, you're like, "Oh, who's he talking to?" And then we learn he's listening to a recording of his wife, and the sense of responsibility he feels because he told them we should be fine where they were.
Yeah.
And then him having to take a couple of days to find their bodies. Like this is like he's such a. I empathize with him. How did you feel like that at all?
That's why I like this villain like so much, is because they do a lot of like they take a lot of care with like this villain, and they just put a lot of like effort into him, and they show him like where he said like when he's listening to the voicemail, and you see him just like going through like his plan and everything, just like the execution of it and like what they reveal at certain times. Like man, they treat him really well, and it's unfortunate that they don't take that proper care like a not saying he's up to the Loki or Thanos level, but or even like a Killmonger, but I think he's in that like in that maybe that next tier group of like villains that they taken that proper care with.
I think the villain in this was better than definitely Winter Soldier.
Who was like the main villain? Oh well, the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, the Winter Soldier was the main villain, but I feel like he was a pawn. The real villain was
it was what that dude. I can see his face.
Why am I blanking on his name right now? He was in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Yeah, I can see his face. It was with Natasha and Samuel Jackson in that room and everything. What was his name?
Robert Redford.
That's it. Yeah, I was like, I can see his face, man.
He was like kind of the main villain.
Yeah,
but I liked this character and his motives because I felt like this character was stronger. Because like I understood why he's doing this. I understand why he hates them.
And also, like, even though he is captured at the end, I mean, he wanted to kill himself, but T'Challa prevents him from that, and he drops a bar on him. He's like, the living is not done with you yet.
That's a great scene, right? Where he walks out realizing he almost killed the wrong man.
Yeah. And
we see Zemo listening to the call. All the while, Cap and Tony are fighting to the death. Like they're like this you know what I'm saying? The stakes are high.
Yeah.
and you know, T'Challa says, you know, I almost killed the wrong man. And Zemo gives that great rejoinder, which is like hardly an innocent one.
Yeah.
That was such a great rejoinder. And like that moment between them where T'Challa sees what revenge has done to this person.
Yeah, we talked about vengeance and everything.
And that's exactly the mission that he was on. I like how it shows like the wisdom within that character to recognize this is not the path that I want for myself.
Yeah.
And I thought like that was a really great moment, an emotional moment in this movie. And then we're going back and forth with just the whole battle with Cap, Stark, and Bucky.
Yeah.
When fucking he reaches his fucking hand into his chest trying to pull out.
I remember watching. I was like, "Oh my god, they're gonna kill him!"
And then he hit him with that Marvel vs. Capcom move.
I know, dude. Oh my god,
full blast.
Fucking Iron Man is just doing a handicap match, going 2v1, and he's holding his own. But like, it's so like. I mean, just like frantic listening to I forget what his little Siri that's talking to him because it's not Jarvis anymore. It's what's his name?
I can't remember her name.
His little Alexa is like pretty much just saying like you can't go hand to hand combat with him and like analyze his patterns and all this shit. Now let's kick his ass. Like, dude, just them going back and forth.
Yep.
Dude, this fight scene is so fucking badass. But also looking at T'Challa and Nemo like having their little speech and just listening to Chadwick giving it as T'Challa the speech about vengeance and consuming him and everything, it just makes you kind of miss the actor of Chadwick. It makes you miss the character of T'Challa as well, and how much he is missed just in the MCU, man. And just hopefully like once they get rid of Secret Wars and all that type of stuff and they do a slight reboot or whatever, hopefully they bring T'Challa back in some way because the MCU is definitely missing that character.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, and he has that great line in that conversation. It's like, vengeance has consumed you and it's consuming them.
Yeah.
All the while, like they're going back at it, and the line that he delivers after Zemo delivers after he's been captured, and I can't remember the agent that's talking to him, but he says, how does it feel, after everything, all the planning, all the hard work for your plan to fail, and he says, did it? And it didn't.
No. Well, he's one of the few.
He
I
won.
think he's one of the few villains that actually wins in like their whole plan, because like, dude, like
and Thanos.
Yeah, and Thanos, which is arguable. You could make the argument of like, like he set everything up. I don't even think you can make that argument like he did, because from that on, like they were split up, and that's exactly why they lost in Infinity War, is because they weren't united. And who did that? Who made that happen? Is Zemo. But honestly, he's become a little bit more of a comedic character now with the Falcon and Winter Soldier series, which is not too bad. I mean, the actor's great. I love watching him, especially in Inglourious Basterds.
He owns all of his scenes, man.
Yeah. In Inglourious Basterds, he's a badass in that movie. But yeah, man, like this movie just gives you so much like good stuff in it, man.
And it takes me like back to like a lot of nostalgia as well. This movie just hit on all cylinders for me. I'm trying to think of like, I mentioned like the Peg, the romance with Peggy's granddaughter.
Yeah, Sharon.
Yeah,
granddaughter or niece, whatever.
Didn't really need that. I mean, but
yeah,
I did. But I mean, here's the thing: I'm not opposed to like romance in Marvel. Like, I love Pepper and Tony's dynamic. That was like a really great dynamic. I didn't love, but I did appreciate like Wanda and Vision's romance, like I like romance. That was cool.
I like it because you could see it start blossoming, especially in them in the kitchen when they're cooking and everything.
Yeah,
I even like in Eternals, it's like Nakari, I want to say, and Druig, their little romance with one another. I thought that was like a little cute little thing too. But I think that's maybe one thing that Marvel doesn't do as maybe consistently as maybe like something like their some of the other things they do. It's some of like their romance pairings, because even like a Thor and Natalie Portman's character.
Oh, that's true.
I didn't really, that one, I could kind of, you can miss me with that one a little bit. I don't really see the chemistry too much.
Well, I guess like for me, I'm also, because like I'm just not a big fan of that franchise outside of Ragnarok, which is their best. I mean, Love and Thunder, it had its good parts for me. Like, I mean, I know it's hated on a lot, but it was okay.
I think the first one is not as bad as people may think it is. I'm not sure how highly regarded the first Thor is, but I think there's like some good stuff with it. I mean, his fucking, I don't know who decided to give him those jet blonde eyebrows, but that was a horrible look for him. Luckily, they've definitely retconned that.
No, for sure. But yeah, I don't know. Do you want to pivot to scores?
One quick thing though.
Yeah.
Man, this also makes me miss the Stan Lee cameos as well.
Oh yeah,
and I would say this one might be my favorite. I mean, I've seen all the MCU movies, but I can't just pull all the Stan Lee cameos out of my ass. But the Tony Stank is pretty iconic in my opinion, man.
Yeah.
But I'm ready to pivot to scores if you are.
Yeah, man. I'll kick us off, man. For me, this is a 4.5. This is one of my favorite Marvel movies ever. It just hits, like I said, on so many levels for me. I think that the duo of the writers and the directors, they make magic often when they collaborate under the Marvel banner. Big fan of their work. I'm excited to see what they do in Doomsday and Secret Wars. But yeah, this movie, man, it just, when I watch this, when I watch movies from these phases, especially the Avengers movies, as well as, this one, which kind of feels like an Avengers light. It just returns me like to that time and nostalgia and just the excitement of Marvel when they were dropping, because they were just firing on all cylinders, it felt like in certain moments back then. And yeah, man, it just, the nostalgia for me is also just like a really big component of how much I love some of these movies. But yeah, man, 4.5. I love this movie. It's very rewatchable. And as far as the solo characters go, I think Captain America under the Rogers probably is the best franchise, the best solo character franchise, I think, for me. Well, wait a minute. I take that back. It's Spider-Man, then this, I think, probably for solo characters.
Your favorite?
Yeah, in terms of my favorite franchises, I think the Spider-Man, Tom Holland ones have been great.
Yeah.
I think because like there's no misses with that. The first Captain America is very good to me.
Yeah.
But it's not better than, for example, Homecoming. I don't think it's better than Homecoming.
I think Spider-Man is a little bit more consistent.
Not by a whole lot, but
not by a whole lot because like the first Captain America, like it is solid, but it is probably the weaker of those.
It is for sure.
Well, actually, now that if we gotta put in Brand New Day,
that's why I only said Rogers. only the Rogers. Ones.
Well then, yeah, man, because that is probably the weaker of the six.
Yeah,
but man, that is a good argument because he has probably the worst movie and the best movie. You can maybe say. Yeah.
Civil War might be the best, but then again, you know what, man? It's probably between that and No Way Out. Well,
No Way Home.
It's really between. Yeah, the three best for me of those six are Civil War, Winter Soldier, and No Way Home.
Would you? What were Guardians? That trilogy? Where would that be? As far as like, because like I know it's not
the
like
first and third one are great.
Well, it's not like because the
second one is a little.
Would you compare it to just like the the other solo movies or like because it's not like a solo movie? That's a group movie. I'm just like being I guess a stickler.
I initially wasn't because it's more of a collective, as opposed to like Black Panther, Iron Man, Thor. Mm-hmm. But then again, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I wasn't factoring them in when I thought about that. But that's a high up there on my list.
Depending on what they do with the next Doctor Strange, though, if they knock it out the park with that one, that trilogy is going to be very high on my list because I love Multiverse of Madness, and I think just the marketing is what kind of fucked that up a little bit.
I wonder, was that one not well received?
No, it was well received. It made a lot of money. It made almost $1 billion. But I think because I just remember when it came out, people were kind of disappointed with it because they thought it was just going to be you hear Multiverse of Madness, so maybe they thought they were going to be jet setting in so many different areas instead of getting that kind of that. Remember how like they kind of go through different multiverses, but it's more of a fast paced sequence. I think people thought they were gonna get a little bit more lived in worlds instead of just getting because we only live in actually 2 or maybe 3 different worlds. So I think maybe people were expecting a little bit more madness, and then when they reveal Patrick Stewart in the marketing, I think a lot of people were thinking, "Well, you revealed him. What are you keeping for the surprises?" And there really wasn't that he was the big surprise. So it's like honestly, if they would have kept that under wraps, I feel like it would have been maybe a little bit more received better. But all in all, I think that is still a well received movie. I think some people think the first Doctor Strange is better, but that's to each their own.
Yeah, I feel you. What about you, man? What you got score wise? What you got?
Once again, we agree, man. This is a 4.5 for me as well. The set pieces with the action, you still have the emotional connection as well. You have some great foreshadowing for things to come, and the way they treat Nemo as a villain is very well. They do so many great things with this movie, like Christopher and Markus, McFeely. What's their names? Just that whole duo with Anthony and Joe Russo as well, and then you have Kevin Feige as well. If I want to say, are they the same writers that's on Doomsday, or is it like just one of them? I want to say it's just one of them.
I thought both of them were going to be involved in Doomsday.
I swear, like it was 2 of them. It was both of them, but then one of them like backed out.
Oh, so it's Michael Waldron and Stephen McFeely.
Yeah.
McFeely are doing Doomsday. Let me see. Are they doing? Who's doing? I don't see the details on the writing. Oh, wait. So McFeely is going to be one of the writers. Yep.
So they all are on it? Then?
No, just McFeely is
McFeely?
going to be on those, yeah.
Okay, so like, but even anyway, you still got one of the writers. You got the Russo brothers, Feige as well behind it.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't had any misses. Civil War is definitely not a misses, and this is going to be in a lot of Marvel fans' top 10s as well. Man, there's just too many good things to say about it, not that many bad things. I mean, besides the whole Sharon Carter, chemistry as well.
Yeah.
That I could go without that whole little awkward scene.
For sure.
But it provided a little comic relief as well. But 4.5 is what I give Civil War. If you're an MCU fan, you need to check this out. If you're not an MCU fan, still check it out because it's still a great film.
Yo, is this is this higher on your list than Endgame?
No. Endgame is higher. Because, man, it's hard to beat that third act, bro.
You had me worried there for a second. I'm not going to lie to you.
Even because, I still love Infinity War as a whole better. Mm-hmm. Man, just because this is something about, Thanos is kind of the forefront of that movie. And just the action pieces in that are fucking amazing. Uh-huh. And the fact that he wins too, it's hard to beat for me. But Endgame is amazing. Obviously, once the ship shows up, bro, that movie is just immaculate.
Yeah, it's funny. I think that the first act of Infinity War I have that better.
Yeah.
I love the first act of Endgame, just the PTSD of everybody surviving. It's just slower.
Yeah,
I appreciate it and I love that, but I've got to be honest. I do think that Infinity War is better for me.
I feel
and I think most people probably agree.
Infinity War is probably a little bit more consistent with the flow because of it's just you're just following the Thanos on his chase and they're trying to prevent him on trying to get the stones. And then Endgame is paced just a little differently because they want to hit you with the feels, early on. They want to show you the pain and show you how these characters are dealing with the loss and everything.
Yeah. Infinity War is popping from the jump.
Yeah,
Loki, you're hearing that distress call as the credits are rolling.
Hulk's getting fucking just suplexed, he's getting in the torture rack.
That's one of my biggest issues with that movie. That's one of my biggest issues. We ain't gonna review that movie right now, but I'm saying but what's funny though? I think the first act of Infinity War is better than the first act, but I think the third act of Endgame is better than the third act of the climactic battle. Well, obviously, even though that fucking battle on Titan was it Titan?
Yeah,
was.
Well, because let's say
top tier for me.
The action. Let's say the action Infinity War is 8-8-8. Mm-hmm. The action Endgame might be a 6-8-10.
I would say I think I like this first act more than you do.
For Endgame?
Yeah. I don't like it more than the first act.
I'd be willing to give it a 7, as high as a 7.
Yeah.
If I was giving it a scale, 1 out of 10 or so. But it's just naturally slower. It's not bad.
Yes, it is.
It just naturally has to be slower because you can't go from getting the whole universe snapped and jumping 5 years or so like that to just on and popping. Mm-hmm. But they do the best that they can do because they show you some Ronin scenes and those were fucking badass. Mm-hmm. I wish we would have got a Ronin television series or even a movie.
Facts. A limited series would have been great,
dude. Especially when you got old boy from Shogun, that actor. I'm about to call him Kurosawa, but I think that could have maybe done done pretty well, especially if you would have released it at the proper time. Seeing Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye, or not as Hawkeye, but as Ronin with the sword and the haircut, bro. In Japan, how you could have, that could have been a John Wick style MCU movie right there, man.
That could have been fucking Punisher type vibe. Yeah, I wonder if that's why they didn't want to explore it. It's this might be too similar to Punisher.
Yeah, maybe that at that time too. Maybe they just weren't all in on the violence as they are probably now. They saw Deadpool and they're like, all right, well, I guess we'll put out anything now.
Yeah, I wonder though. I mean, I hope that's not why, but maybe. But that's our episode for this week. Stay tuned. We'll catch y'all next time.
Peace.